Chapter 2159, It was her. The pungent smell made Lu Karen realize that Zhang Yi had just been in a battle. "Brother, where did you just go?" Zhang Yi smiled without speaking, simply taking out a spirit of sacrifice and handing it to her. "This is the surprise I promised you." The intense life energy was the essence of the life force of countless beings. No one could resist its allure. Lu Karen was speechless. "This is for me?" She couldn't believe it. Such a treasure could drive any mutant in the world mad, and countless nations would wage war over it. Zhang Yi had gone out for a while and returned with this, as if he had brought her a bouquet of flowers. Zhang Yi laughed. "It was given to me by the people of the Wulwan Empire. They're actually quite nice. This. Brother, you should keep it for yourself. It's too precious for me." Lu Karen shook her head. Zhang Yi waved his hand. "I don't need this right now. Giving it to you will allow its full potential to be unleashed. Enhancing your power will accelerate the construction of the warship, which is crucial for us." Zhang Yi himself had absorbed various origins of power from stronger beings, and he didn't know when he would fully absorb them. He didn't need to absorb the spirit of sacrifice anymore. Lu Karen no longer refused and finally accepted the spirit of sacrifice. "By the way, Karen, there's something you need to do now." Zhang Yi quickly recounted everything that had just happened. He had left in a hurry and hadn't thought to bring her along, but now he suddenly had an idea. "We know little about the underground world. Could we use this opportunity to establish contact with them?" When Zhang Yi killed the lizard men, their intelligent devices were well preserved. This made Zhang Yi think that they could disguise themselves as lizard men to contact the Wulwan Empire. Then they could secretly investigate the Wulwan Empire's secrets. Zhang Yi called Yang Xingxin over and handed her the lizard men who were still barely alive, instructing her to probe their inner thoughts. Such a task was no problem for Lu Karen at this point. She inspected all the devices Zhang Yi had brought back. The large space shock instrument could have remarkable effects in special situations. Additionally, it had another function, detecting ground vibrations and even predicting earthquakes long in advance. "Brother, this is easy to handle. All the equipment is intact and can be used normally. I can mimic the voices of these lizard people to contact the Wulwan Empire." Zhang Yi took a deep breath. "Fantastic. Make sure the Wulwan Empire doesn't find out about their destruction. I want them to wait in silence for the arrival of our Huashu Kingdom's army." Zhang Yi instructed Lu Karen to absorb the spirit of sacrifice as soon as possible. Her current ability index was only 19,000 points, leaving significant room for improvement. With daily industrial manufacturing, her abilities would become increasingly proficient. Yang Xingxin shot each of the crippled lizard men with an arrow and inquired about the current situation in the Wulwan Empire. The information they received was quite surprising. A terrifying assassin has recently emerged within the Wulwan Empire, targeting powerful mutants for attacks. In just a few months, over 1,000 mutants have fallen to her, most of whom were high-level military officers. Zhang Yi's eyes widened in disbelief. Could this really be a stroke of luck? It seemed that the Wulwan Empire was also facing internal troubles, and Zhang Yi felt as though someone had brought him a pillow just as he was about to fall asleep. Does the Wulwan Empire have other enemies? Yang Xingxin also found the situation sudden. The outbreak of this incident actually occurred shortly after the Wulwan Empire launched a tsunami attack on the Huashu Kingdom. And according to intelligence, the assassin possesses no fewer than 500 supernatural abilities, making it extremely difficult to capture or eliminate her. As she spoke, she exchanged glances with Zhang Yi. The two of them spoke in unison. "Juyu?" Among all the mutants they knew, there were indeed those who could use multiple abilities. But there was only one person who could use over 500 abilities. Codename, Nuba. Juyu. Even her original form, Yuan Kongyue, did not possess such abilities. Yuan Kongyue could absorb a maximum of over 200 abilities. However, Juyu, recreated using her reproductive cells, Ice Soul, and further enhanced by Li Lingshua's modifications and the resources of the entire Jiangnan region, had surpassed her original form. To this day, there is still no known limit to the number of abilities Zhu Yu can absorb. Zhang Yi was deeply surprised. He never expected Zhu Yu, who had always kept a low profile, to secretly accomplish such a monumental feat. She's really fearless. She's still the same crazy person she always was. The Shi Zhang Yi was referring to was not only Zhu Yu but also Yuan Kongyue. Zhu Yu, who inherited half of Yuan Kongyue's genes, also inherited her crazy personality. Even Zhang Yi would not dare to sneak into the Wulwan Empire. After all, the foundation of an empire is no joke. The gatekeeper of Hades couldn't kill Zhang Yi on land, but if he were on his own turf, Zhang Yi's chances of escaping would be greatly reduced. However, for now, Zhu Yu has only caused widespread panic in the Wulwan Empire, and her targets are limited to mutants of the White Chariot level or below. It hasn't yet reached the point of undermining the very foundations of the Wulwan Emperor's empire. However, this has already bought the Huashu Kingdom a significant amount of time. Does Zhu Jing know about this? Zhang Yi narrowed his eyes. He sensed something was amiss. No wonder he hadn't seen Zhu Yu appear since arriving in Blizzard City. He had always maintained a certain level of vigilance toward Zhu Yu. Even though Zhu Yu's current strength was still no match for him, given the uniqueness of her abilities, she could continue to grow. Who knew how powerful she might become in the end? An unpredictable potential enemy was not something Zhang Yi would overlook. Yang Xinxin rested her chin in her hand, pondered for a moment, then said, "I don't think this was Zhu Zheng's idea." Zhang Yi looked at her and asked with a smile, "Oh? Why do you say that?" Yang Xinxin smiled faintly, her face revealing a look of insight. Zhu Zheng is too old. Zhu Zheng was now in his 60s, an age that should not be too advanced for him to continue working diligently in his position. However, in the 4 years since the end of the world, he had experienced too many things, and now he could only rest 4 or 5 hours a day. This accelerated his aging, and even with all kinds of advanced medical equipment and medical-type mutant, he couldn't get rid of the uneasiness in his heart. Chapter 2160, The Realm of No Desires. When a person gets old, they tend to look back and hesitate when doing things. Especially someone like Zhu Zheng, who has never been free from internal and external troubles. Of course, the external troubles refer to the crises outside the Jiangnan region and Gaochangkong, the ticking time bomb. As for the internal troubles, Yang Xinxin didn't say it out loud, but just glanced at Zhang Yi, the answer being obvious. Zhang Yi spread his hands helplessly. Should I blame myself? Indeed, the person Zhu Jing feared most in his heart was undoubtedly Zhang Yi in Tianhai City. Even more terrifying than Gao Changkong, who was constantly plotting to take his life. In any case, according to Yang Xinxin's understanding, Zhu Jing would never risk sending his strongest protector away. Zhu Yu leaving Blizzard City to seek opportunities to enhance her strength outside was a gamble. Zhang Yi crossed his arms. So you're saying Zhu Yu left Blizzard City on her own? Recalling the expression on Zhu Zheng's face when they had talked earlier, Zhang Yi had already guessed the truth. Sure enough, she has Yuan Kongyue's genes. She's a woman who can't settle down. Zhang Yi rubbed his nose, feeling a mix of emotions toward Zhu Yu. Because she looked almost identical to Yuan Kongyue and possessed abilities that were an upgraded level version of Yuan Kongyue's. Every time he saw her, it reminded him of the past, a feeling that was hard to describe. Yang Xinxin, seeing this, said calmly, "This is easy to handle. If you feel uncomfortable, I'll find an opportunity to kill her." Anything that made Zhang Yi feel uneasy, she wouldn't mind eliminating. Yang Xinxin had the confidence to do so. Even if she wasn't much of a fighter mutant, with her intelligence, she could set up a trap that would surely kill Zhu Yu. Zhang Yi was silent for a moment, then shook his head. "Forget it, we'll deal with her later. For now, let's have her help us stall for time. With her there, we can temporarily distract the attention of the Wulwan Empire." Delay? Yang Xinxin couldn't help but cover her mouth and laugh. "Brother, we prepared everything for the attack 3 months ago. Taking down the Wulwan Empire is a done deal. How long do you plan to prepare?" Zhang Yi spread his hands, looking as if it was only natural, and said, if I weren't worried about unexpected changes, I would have elevated the Huashu kingdom to the level of the Yihen tribe's mighty god-level civilization and then smashed the Wulwan Empire into oblivion with a single blow. It would be best to take them down without any casualties. After all, he took a deep breath, stared at Yang Xinxin, and said sincerely, I don't want to see anyone around me die. Whether it's you, Xinxin, or other family members, or even friends I know, I don't want any of you to die or even get hurt. But war is cruel, and casualties are inevitable. All I can do is do my best to strengthen our forces and minimize casualties. Yang Xinxin looked at Zhang Yi, her eyes filled with a tenderness she had never shown anyone else. Brother, you're really so kind. Zhang Yi smiled faintly, this world is becoming more and more dangerous. Sooner or later, the familiar figures around us will die one by one. If only we are left behind, it would be very lonely, wouldn't it? Yang Xinxin nodded and was about to go back to continue arranging the battle plan. Zhang Yi called her back and handed her a piece of spirit of sacrifice. I gave one to Karen. This one is for you. After all, I don't need it for now. It will take a long time to digest all of the mutant origin in his body, and Zhang Yi likes to maximize the value of all resources. Before the war comes, he wants everyone around him to improve as much as possible. Yang Xinxin glanced at it, smiled, and shook her head. Brother, I don't need it either. Zhang Yi was taken aback, and his outstretched hand stopped in midair. Why? Yang Xinxin pointed to her head. The essence of supernatural abilities is the mind. I don't want my thinking to be affected by my supernatural abilities improving too quickly. Zhang Yi lowered his eyelids and fell into deep thought. Looking at Yang Xinxin's departing figure, he suddenly understood what Ling meant by no desire. I can't learn that. Zhang Yi exclaimed. He still had 2 more spirits of sacrifice in his hands. Since she didn't need them, he'd have to find someone else to give them to. Zhang Yi rubbed his chin, considering his options. The absorption of spirits of sacrifice wasn't unlimited. The higher one's talent, the greater the effect of absorption. If a fool obtained it, their body would be like a sieve, unable to retain much energy. Fatty Su isn't suitable for absorption yet. He just recently advanced to Epsilon, and his understanding of his own abilities is still lacking. Giving it to him would be a waste. Flower and Liang Yu are already strong enough. Uncle Yu follows the mechanical ascension path, so he doesn't benefit much from this either. After pondering for a while, Zhang Yi suddenly realized that his companions had all reached a very high level and didn't currently need to rely on the spirit of sacrifice to significantly enhance their strength. Just then, a voice quietly drifted over. Perhaps, Brother Zhang Yi, you could consider me? The voice was very unfamiliar, and the word brother sounded a little sweet but also a little stiff. Zhang Yi looked around but couldn't see anyone. Strange, why does this voice sound so familiar? The shadow on his body was slowly condensing into a human form. Mu Yan, dressed in black and wearing a black lace eye mask, stood quietly beside Zhang Yi. She was always like this, with a frighteningly low presence, rarely speaking even at home. It wasn't because she was aloof, it was simply her nature. Otherwise, she wouldn't possess such abilities. Zhang Yi suddenly remembered that Mu Yan was currently only at Delta 9999 level. Her talent was average. In Blizzard City, she would only be an ordinary captain-level player. In the shelter, her talent was only slightly better than that of Fatty Su and Uncle Yu. That's right, though it may sound a bit harsh, Fatty Su and Uncle Yu's talent isn't particularly high, they've simply been built up with Zhang Yi's vast resources. But so what? Zhang Yi is happy, and he's willing to use his resources on those around him. Mu Yan rarely takes the initiative, she seldom makes any requests. After all, being able to follow Zhang Yi is already an honor. If not for that, she might have ended up as Zhu Yu's nourishment. Being watched so closely by Zhang Yi made Mu Yan feel a bit embarrassed, but no one could resist the temptation of a life-level upgrade. The spirit of sacrifice was merely something of value to Zhang Yi, but in the outside world, it was enough to spark a war between 2 nations of mutants. Even Mu Yan had come forward to claim it.